Namaste, Jevin. I, Jevin Shobha Kumari, Assistant Professor in Jyoti Vidyapith Women's University, Jaipur. Today, I deliver a lecture on this topic: chemical fertilizer, classification, composition, and properties of major potassic fertilizer. First of all, I'll talk about the potassic fertilizer. What is this? The Latin German word for the element with symbol K, caps में K, is kalium. It is derived from the Arab words il-kali, means ash potash in English, potassic in French. The term potash generally refers to any salt used to provide fertilizer potassium. In the early days, potassium carbonate was produced from solution leached from wood ashes evaporate in iron pots. Hence term potassic meaning pot ashes. Ashes means rock. The crude potassium salt K mineral with the impurities were found in the process of drying up of seawater in a former ocean basins which occur largely during the Permian period, some 2000 million years ago. The seawater salt crystallized in the order of solubility, that is, sodium chloride, NaCl, strata are overlain by K mineral, potassium mineral. In a course of time, they were covered by many geological strata and converted to a hard rock. Crude potassium salt are thus natural seawater minerals are the fertilizer potassium. Likewise, potassium chloride, potassium sulfate used in India is imported as on today. Recently, Geological Survey of India has reported the occurrence of potassium deposits in Lake Jammu Kashmir, Bikaner, Rajasthan, which await commercial exploitation. Potassium conite, a double salt of potassium sulfate and magnesium sulfate obtained from the salt bitterness, is recently began produced on the pilot scale at Bhavnagar, Gujarat. Manufacturing of process of potassium fertilizer, how to manufacture in the industry at a commercial level. Two types of potassium fertilizer are widely produced in India. First one, potassium chloride, also known as muriate of potash. For second one, potassium sulfate is also known as sulfate of potash, muriate of potash or sulfate of potash. First one, talk about the potassium chloride, KCl, MOP, muriate of potash. Potassium chloride is a popularly known as a muriate of potash, MOP. The term muriate is derived from the muriatic acid, a common name for hydrochloric acid, HCl. It is the most important potassium fertilizer used directly on in conjunction with the phosphorus and nitrogen fertilizer. Raw material and sources for the potassium, sylvinite or brine. Unlike the phosphate rocks, potassium mineral salt do not require heat, strong acid treatment as they are water soluble. Potassium chloride is recovered from sylvinite adopting either of two processing likewise crystalline processing, crystallization first one, and second floating process. In first one process, crystallization principle क्या है? Crystallization process employed in separating potassium chloride from the sodium chloride is largely dependent on their different solubility in a hot and cold water. The solubility of potassium chloride increases rapidly with the rise in temperature, whereas the solubility of sodium chloride varies very slightly. Cool brine saturated with both the salts in heated to 1000 degrees Celsius, 1000 degrees Celsius and pass over the finely ground selenite or when potassium chloride rich brine solution is obtained. It is cooled by the vacuum evaporation which processes potassium chloride crystal which are centrifuged and washed and dried and packed. The filtered brine which sodium chloride is recycled for treating fresh one. In a second process, how to potassium chloride is manufacturing. In a floating process, separation of potassium chloride from its ore by mineral flotation is widely practiced all over the world related to crystallization process. Which one principle is considered in process? Flotation is the separation process in which a solid treated with a selective agent is suspended in aqueous liquid. The treated solid adheres to bubbles of air, and the fourth and is floated of the suspension. Non-floating metal is removed as pulp. The cerullite ore is a mixture of the interlocked crystal of potassium chloride and sodium chloride pearls, a small quantity of clay and other impurities. Next, discuss about the physical properties of MOP. MOP means muriate of potash. MOP in pure form in white crystalline salt. However, color ranges from white to red based on the impurities present in the potassium mineral and the method of refinement. It has a solubility of 37 grams per 100 grams of water at 30 degrees Celsius. The crystalline MOP is not very hygroscopic, flow freely and does not cake. Has specific gravity 1.98. Chemical properties of MOP. MOP contains 58% by weight potassium oxide and about 47% chloride. MOP is neutral in a reaction and does not produce acidity and alkalinity on soil application. Thank you guys. If you have any query, any doubt regarding this session, please write in comment box.